After 16 years, this summer, Spain finally looks set to break the curse.
Oh, it drops for Fabregas, who looks for Iniesta, who's onside! Spain score! They take advantage of the extra man, and they believe they're going to win the World Cup for the very first time.
Since they last became champions of the world in 2010, it's been heartbreak after heartbreak for Spain in World Cups. 2014.
Robin. It's
2018.
Akinfi, fast pass. Vorbei, gehalten! Russland ist im Viertelfinale!
2022. But now in 2026, this could be the year everything changes.
The history of guaranteeing victory. So I ask you, does Spain win the World Cup?
In English, yes.
The odds-on favorite to become champions this summer, the defending European champions, superstar names like Lamine Yamal, Pedri
Metido ahí entre líneas, ojo a Pedri, vamos a ver el disparo, el tiro de Pedri. ¡Gol!
Nico Williams, and 2024 Ballon d'Or winner Rodri. This Spanish team is uniquely complete, confident, ready.
Active football that you want to see.
I mean, so much about this Spain team, they're there to love. And again, you talk about France yesterday, and you can't help but draw comparisons between the two. Incredible footballing side. Everybody knows where each other is, and you talk about chemistry, they have it, the passing, the understanding, everything about Spain. Again, just you feel that they're, well, quite clearly favourites.
It is not the same Spain. This one is faster, stronger, more aggressive, and perhaps more importantly in the context of the World Cup, better. For all the talk about France, Brazil, Argentina and Portugal, what if the team most likely to win the World Cup isn't the one everyone is talking about? It's what makes this Spanish team exciting, because Luis de la Fuente has had the chance to quietly turn Spain into a dynasty away from the spotlight. See, after Luis Enrique and the 2022 World Cup, it looked like Spain had hit another stumbling block. The old guard was phased out. At the time, no one really knew who Luis de la Fuente was. He quietly worked his way through the youth team ranks of Spain, and in the context of what the team was trying to build, no one was sure if it'd be the right fit. At least that's what the outside world thought.
Most of these players have come through with De La Fuente in the youth teams with Spain for over the last 5-10 years, so they know him, they know his style of play, they obviously respect him a lot.
On top of all that, technically, whatever tactics or system they're playing, they can all deal with the ball, they deal with in tight areas, they know how to get out of situations.
Thing is, as Gary Neville pointed out, most of these players had indeed come through the ranks with De La Fuente and the national team right up to the senior level. And it's this particular situation that makes Spain the quiet favourites to go all the way this summer. Put it point blank, it's the squad they've built, the brains in the team.
Why are the Spanish teams dominating football?
They don't build or create individual, they create teams. And so it doesn't matter who plays in it, they have a philosophy. They usually go for the guy that will understand space right from the start, understand where to pass the ball, instead of going sometimes for the guy that might be 190, he'll be faster. At an early age. They usually start with a group, they try to finish with that group also.
That's the difference between these guys and the rest of the competition. These players know each other. There's a unity in the squad that translates to results on the pitch. In the first era of Spain's modern dominance, that golden age of 2008 to 2012, it was a block of superstars mainly from Barcelona and Real Madrid who always somehow found ways to put the club egos aside when they came on national duty. But with this current crop of players, they seem like they genuinely like each other. It also helps that the bulk of the team plays in Spain. Now this might seem like a minor sub-factor, but considering that tournament football is a mixture of luck and how quickly a band of players can understand each other in weeks, it again helps that the majority of these players play in Spain and as a result almost face each other week in, week out. In the 26-man roster, 17 of the 26 players play in La Liga, 7 out of the other 9 play in the Premier League, while Alejandro Grimaldo and Fabian Ruiz from Bayer Leverkusen and PSG in the Bundesliga and Ligue 1 respectively make up the list. Right, so they've got the squad, a group of players who know each other. They seem familiar, but there's an even bigger reason to be more optimistic with Spain. It's a generation that's set to break a curse. But just before we get into what exactly that curse is, at the Football Armageddon, we're trying to bring you quality videos like this, and in turn, we're only asking that you hit that subscribe button to the channel down below and turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. Thanks. Since they last won the World Cup in 2010, Spain have won just 3 of their 11 World Cup matches since. For a country with the amount of names they've produced from that point to now, it's awful. In 2014, they entered the competition as the defending champions. In fact, they'd completed a double set of back-to-back Euros after winning the Euros that year in 2012, sandwiched in between a World Cup trophy in 2010. But as far as title collapses go, 2014 was a year to forget for Spain. They failed to make it past the group stages, including that heavy 5-1 defeat to a Dutch team they just beaten 4 years earlier in the final. By 2018, that golden generation was on the verge of phasing over. Xavi had left the setup, Andres Iniesta was still in the team, same with players like Sergio Ramos, Gerard Piqué, Sergio Busquets, and even Thiago Alcantara. They managed to get past the group stages in 2018, but in the round of 16 against host Russia, Spain suffered a shock elimination, and so the 2022 team under Luis Enrique came into Qatar full of promise. For starters, they had a fresh squad. That old guard had been fully phased out. It seemed at the time that they had an exciting mix of the young and old. Players like Pedri, Ansu Fati, Nico Williams, Jeremy Pino, and Gavi were all seen as a new generation. Our players like Sergio Busquets, Dani Carvajal, Koke, and Jordi Alba were the experienced heads expected to guide the team. They began the competition with a statement.
And Gavi arriving!
An astonishing 7-0 thrashing of Costa Rica on the opening day. But after this result, they didn't really perform as expected. They drew 1-1 against Germany, surprisingly lost to Japan 2-1, but still managed to qualify, only to get knocked out by Morocco on penalties in the round of 16. Just 3 wins in 11 matches at the World Cup since 2010. For a team that just a few weeks ago was ranked first in the FIFA's World Cup rankings, that's a fact they just have to break this summer. And looking at the team Luis de la Fuente has built, there's every reason to believe that that team going to the United States will rewrite history again. They are exactly the type of team built to play tournament football, solidity and versatility. The obvious standouts have to be the 2 wide men. In Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams, they have 2 of the best wingers in the world. Lamine Yamal needs no introduction. Just a few weeks back, he was crowned the La Liga Player of the Season with his 16 goals and 12 assists in 28 league matches last season. That's the form he's taking into the World Cup, and that's not even the half of it. His productivity is one thing. When it comes to taking on his man and getting past fullbacks and defenders, there's no one better in Europe. For context, he topped the charts for the most dribbles in Europe's top 5 leagues for the second season running with 127 dribbles in the 2025-26 campaign domestically. He's been just as impressive with the national team as well. Only 2 players registered more assists than Yamal for the national team in qualifying. There is no doubt that he's the star turn in that team, and at just 19 too. The player who, when he gets on the ball, he gets crowds up on their feet. He makes things happen. He can make things happen for Spain. But it's also funny how most people tend to forget that before Yamal, another winger was setting it up for Spain on the national team down the left. It's been an injury-disturbed season for Nico Williams so far in 2025-26, but if Luis de la Fuente is right about him being fit enough to play at the level he needs him to for the World Cup, then Nico Williams can once again be that guy for Spain. I mean, his performances speak for themselves really. Just under 2 years ago, he was scoring for Spain in the final of the Euros. Nico Williams is just as effective when it comes to dribbling. He's one half of Spain's weak threat. He understands what Luis de la Fuente wants in the system from his wide men: to hold the width, wait for the opposition fullbacks to go high, and then be as direct as possible, face the goal and create chances, get shots on goal, make things happen. After the 2024 Euros, it's been a slightly downward curve for Nico Williams, but this could be the tournament that gets him back on the lips of many watching again. As impressive as both wingers are, it's not just the wingers, it's arguably even better in midfield.
Why do you think Spain, in particular, I think, has produced that kind of player in the last decade or so? You can mention Pep Guardiola, but there's Busquets and Xabi Alonso and your good self. Why do you think Spain seems to have that more cerebral approach to football?
I think it's because the basis, the way you start growing, they start teaching you football, and in my case, in my example, let's say, they teach you that football is collectively, that the ball goes faster when you pass it than when you run with it, and everything goes through the pass. Everything.
Pound for pound right now, probably aside Portugal, Spain have easily the best midfield strength in the world. Pedri needs no introduction. The orchestra in midfield. Conductor. He doesn't need stats to understand how good he is. There's a difference between when he plays and when he doesn't play. But you see, what makes this Spanish team even better is that even when players like Pedri don't play, they have other systems they can easily adapt to without necessarily changing the style. The expected midfield trio to start will be Pedri, Rodri and Fabian Ruiz. Rodri at the base as the anchor, the pivot, the one that keeps the team ticking and resets play. But here's where it gets even better. Throw it back to the 2024 Euros.
For instance, Rodri gets injured, but there is a structure, there is a culture of the team, there is a way of playing, and the ones that are coming from the bench make a difference, or at least equal what's been produced before. And Zubimendi comes in, and the first thing he does is something he doesn't normally do at Real Sociedad: drive with the ball. And then John Stones stops him yellow card. This is a context that allows the individuals to shine.
Rodri got injured in the final. He was replaced by Martin Zubimendi at halftime, and the team did not skip a beat. If anything, they were at the same level and probably even better. That's how good the depth of that team is in midfield. Rodri, Pedri, Zubimendi, Fabian Ruiz, a technically gifted talent that just won back-to-back Champions League titles with PSG. They still got the likes of Gavi and Alex Baena. It's hard to dismiss the defensive mix at the back. It's not exactly a mixture of star names. It circles back to the point made earlier. They have a mix of players versatile enough to play in multiple positions. The Lamine Yamal of centre-backs in Pau Kubasi, Aymeric Laporte to the mix. Players like Eric Garcia can play at centre-back, full-back, or even as a holding midfielder if required. Pedro Porro can play on either flank. With the full-backs in particular, De La Fuente has gone for a mix of options who are as good defensively as they are going forward in Pedro Porro and Marco Correa. Switch the focus to the goalkeepers and it's the same idea. Another interesting mix. They've got a 3-peat Premier League Golden Glove winner and recently crowned league champion with Arsenal in the Premier League in David Raya, a La Liga Golden Glove winner and recently crowned league winner in Barcelona and La Liga in Juan Garcia. But it's Unai Simon who is expected to start in the sticks for Spain in the summer. Luis De La Fuente has his squad, his team, but he won't be without his problems and his critics too. For starters, there are big questions surrounding his two wingers.
Yeah, every question to Coach Luis De La Fuente, the first one in every press conference, is about the injured players, the recovering players, about Lamine Yamal, about Mikel Merino, and the players that about Nico Williams as well, the players that aren't fully fit. He keeps insisting they will be fit for the first game. He always caveats that by saying they might not start the first game of the World Cup, but he says they will be fit, they will be available at least to play the game.
There is no doubt that both Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams will be key to the system. But what if neither is fit enough to play at full strength during the World Cup? At the same time, there's also the idea of the team playing without a recognized striker, or at least starting without one, since they've got veteran forward Borja Iglesias in the team. But it's again being a Spanish national team who for years have played without an out-and-out centre forward. There's also the issue of politics, the one where it seems like Luis De La Fuente picking a World Cup team with 0 players from Real Madrid might be a problem.
That there will be a section of the media, a section of the fans that may not feel Spain very theirs. Because as you know, Spanish football culture is very club orientated, and there is a lot of Barcelona players and no Real Madrid players. So it does feel like already in social media and some names in the media have been just in the trenches saying, well, not Real Madrid players, what about that, experience?
But while this did spark a debate, the realistic truth is that of the options available for selection, it's hard to argue that any of them should have made the roster. Not Dean Huyson, Dani Carvajal possibly, but just like Gonzalo Garcia, who could have been another option. Neither Carvajal nor Gonzalo Garcia played enough minutes or performed better than the options chosen over them. The time has to be now for Spain. Under Luis De La Fuente, they've lost just 2 games since he was appointed. They won the Euros in 2024 in a competition where they dominated from start to finish, dispatching the likes of Croatia, Germany, France and England. They reached the final of last year's Nations League only to lose on penalties to Portugal. There is serious momentum in this squad and at the same time, it's quiet. Exactly the type of balance that crowns tournament champions. Luis Enrique will definitely be watching, hoping the Spanish team he helped build can go all the way this summer. On the man himself, he's since gone to France and built a dynasty that is threatening to completely take over European football. Click the next video to find out how PSG has become exactly what Europe was afraid of.